All right. Sorry for the shaking. Going live. It's Monday. This is the actual show that I always set aside. Every other show I've ever done live has been I was sitting in here painting or something and I thought, yeah, you know what? I'll go live. Whatever, right? So, man, I overslept today like crazy style too. I don't know why, because I was in bed early, but for those who missed it, we had a really good show yesterday. Go check it out. And one thing I do want to point out, even though right now there's not a lot of people watching, hey, Daniel Barry, what is up? Cheers to you too. Go Bruins, etc., etc. And yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Um, Yesterday we had a stream with quite a few people on. My homeboy, Holy Diver, the Angry Gamer, and we had Bear, one of my favorite Canuckistanians. Just Hungar dropped in for a while. We had like just a whole lineup, right? And the thing is, I wanted to say this because, I do put in politically inflammatory, sometimes for some people, maybe titles saying how Trump's your daddy and stuff. But I'm willing to bet that the majority of the people outside of my own, no, not even my own brother, share drastically different political viewpoints from myself, including my brother, who tends to be a lot more libertarian. I'm not going to say liberal, progressive, but definitely libertarian. He is definitely a libertine. He's like, who cares? Do what you want, whatever, right? And I'm all like, Christ is king, blah, blah, blah. And Bears, of course, Canadian, and the right wing in Canada is kind of still not the right wing in America. It's kind of like Europeans. They call like their right wing the right wing. That's like, those guys are further left than our liberals, than our far left, right? But the point, speak of the devil, Bear is here. The point I'm getting at is everyone conducted themselves in a gentlemanly manner, despite.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I'll stop. Despite any political differences, I know we all have. And that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the opening monologue. You can be friends with people who have different political and religious viewpoints than you.
You can?
You can. I promise you,
Wow.
Bear, you're an adult, but yeah, and it's like I just wish that the rest of the world could get around that. I mean, I game with a guy who it was a Bernie guy, a Biden guy. Right now he's like far left. He voted Kamala. I game with this guy all the time. I've known him for 30 years. I think he's absolutely incorrect on political policy. He needs to go ahead and join me over here on the orange side. But that doesn't matter, because he's a good guy. And yeah, so that's my opening Monday monologue. I'm done now. Bear, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I have a simple philosophy, which is if I'm gaming with you, hanging out with you, being friends with you, I don't need to know your politics. That's your business.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's how Americans used to be. There used to be this great joke I heard, which was never ask an American who they voted for because they think that's highly inappropriate. And then the guy did the routine of going, Steve, whoa, who I voted for, that's personal business. Now let me finish my story. Where was I? Yeah, I was fucking my wife in the ass. And, and it's just like, and that's how you guys work for the longest time.
I remember that comedy skit.
Yeah.
I don't remember who exactly it was, but I remember that skit.
But what happened to that America?
I think Trump broke America.
I think Obama broke America.
Well, see,
I think it started in 2008. People started to really show their political compass openly.
Maybe. I mean, a little known fact about me that I don't talk about is I actually voted for Obama on his first run.
Most people did.
Well, because I hated John McCain. Most people did.
Yeah.
Right?
Funny. When McCain was running against Bush for leadership of the Republicans for the ticket back in 2099, whatever it was, I liked McCain. Then after he lost that, I slowly started disliking McCain a lot. The more he talked, the more I was like, I don't like this guy. You know?
I think my biggest problem with McCain was that he killed a bunch of sailors and got away with it. John McCain almost sank the Kitty Hawk. He's the idiot that launched a missile while he was sitting on the deck in his A7, and it hit a fuel/ammo depot, lit the ship on fire. Like dozens of sailors died. They tried to say that it was a total misfire accident, whatever, but that's BS. But the thing people don't know about John McCain is his daddy was an admiral.
Yeah.
So he was, I mean, we talk about DEI. Well, John McCain was DEI from the get-go. He was a Nebo baby.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. That guy, I mean, people talk about him now that he's passed and they feel like they can tell the truth more. And they're like, that dude never should have graduated Naval Academy, let alone flight school. And, you know, but because of who his dad was, he got to be an officer. He shouldn't have even gotten the university he got into. You know what I mean?
You know, I miss Bob Dole. Bob Dole ain't going to stand for this. Bob Dole does not believe in these things.
Yeah. Bob Dole with his pen.
Yeah. Bob Dole.
Yeah. We used to be a different country, though, because I remember back in like 90 something, that one guy was running. It might have been before that. And like somebody took a picture of him on his yacht with some chick that wasn't his wife, and he was done. That was the end of it. And then when you look at what our politicians do like regularly versus what Nixon did, and you're all like, Nixon was a saint compared to these people. You know what I mean?
No jokes.
Like, I mean, and he stepped down over. Oh, you recorded us, Orange Man Rad. What's up, Bigfoot man? I too, sir, believe in Bigfoot. I just think it's some kind of weird hominid we just haven't quite ran down, or feral people in the hollers of Kentucky.
I believe Bigfoot is an American, and as an American, Bigfoot deserves his right to vote. And I firmly believe in my heart, Bigfoot supports the Kennedys.
Well, Bigfoot would be a dual citizen.
Bigfoot is an indigenous native of the North American continent and therefore is allowed dual citizenship. Yes.
Because, I mean, he's in Canada and America every
Absolutely.
time you turn around, right? I mean,
No,
I don't
I'm
know
doing
if
candy
Mexico's
tonight.
got a Bigfoot, but, you know, give them a while. They'll get one.
This guy's got big feet. That's what they say. Biggest feet. I don't know. I haven't seen them, but they say they're big.
I haven't seen them, but I've heard they're the biggest feet you ever saw.
Apparently, you'll never see feet bigger than this. I
No
don't
one has
know.
ever seen feet any bigger than these feet.
I mean,
Truly
I met Shaquille
spectacular.
O'Neal. He's got big feet, but he's no Bigfoot.
He's no Bigfoot.
Exactly, Buck.
Shaquille O'Neal. I met Shaquille O'Neal because a guy I worked with used to be his hunting guide.
Okay.
Shaq loves to come to Florida and go boar hunting and bass fishing and stuff. He's kind of like that. Plus, his mom lives not far from me. And that dude, when you shake hands with him, it's like his fingers keep going around your. I mean, his hands are like freaking catching mitts.
Well, Andre the Giant.
That dude is so big. It's intimidating. Even though I'll tell you what, Shaquille O'Neal is a sweetheart. He really is a nice guy. When you meet him, he's like the kind of guy you drink beer with, you hang out. He's a nice guy. But he's kind of unsettling because of how big he is. And I'm 6 foot, 6'1" on a good day. And if I'm wearing my boots, maybe even 6'2", 6'3". This guy is a monster. And unlike most giants, he's anatomically
right. He doesn't have the what Andre the Giant had. So this is an American 50-cent piece, right?
Right.
The $50. Apparently, Andre the Giant, you could take one of these, take his ring, and pass it through it.
Oh my goodness! Hey Doc, how you doing, Doc?
Think about how big around that man's fingers were. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He had a
Hey,
French
Doc, you
mom
joining
and a
us?
Serbian dad, I think, and he'd eat like 3 dinners and then drink a liter of whiskey. And
No, his big drink was Pernod. He loved Pernod. It was his favoriteest thing in the world to drink. And some of the old wrestlers were telling me stories about him one day, and they were saying like he'd arrive in the bar and order 40 shots of Pernod, and then like whoever sat down, he'd just hand them a Pernod, like, here, you're gonna have a drink with me type thing. But they were in Quebec City one night. They're in Quebec City one night, and he's drinking. And Andre's whole thing was, if you drink with me, you're my friend. And apparently this big son of a bitch comes in, and he's a real troublemaker, and he says, "Ce soir, on va planter un géant." Tonight I'm gonna plant a giant, right? And Andre was like, my friend, we don't have to drink. Here's a shot of Pernod. Let's be friends. And the guy took the Pernod and threw it on Andre. And Gino Brito said all Andre did was do this with his arm. So he did. His arm just went, and the guy went and was unconscious on the floor. And when the cops arrived, this guy had such a reputation for being a troublemaker, they were begging Andre to press charges so they could put him in jail at least, and do something about it. And Andre was too nice. He's like, no, you have to ease him his lesson.
That's what I mean. Andre the Giant, everything I ever heard, he truly was a gentle giant. I can't imagine anyone wanting to be a dick to that guy. I know he bought a big ranch in Texas or somewhere.
Yeah.
But
I think it's in Kentucky or something, Kentucky or Tennessee.
Wherever
he used to drive a Renault Lacar.
And
he used to drive a Renault Lacar, that little tiny car, and he loved driving because people would the looks he would get when he'd get out of it. People would be like, "What the fuck,"
Salinger's godson, nice. What's funny is that woman who was suing. Where did I hear this from? Was it Salty Cracker, maybe? The woman who was trying to sue that Uber guy because she couldn't fit in his car.
Oh, yeah.
She's 5'4" and she outweighs Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
She's 480 pounds. He was 470. And he was
Andre
the Giant.
We need to stop celebrating poor life choices.
I agree. Well, I mean, of course, they laughed her out of court. I think that was one of yours, too. I think she was up in Kazakhstan.
No, she was an American for sure.
Probably. We're one of the fattest countries on the planet. That's what Bobby's always going on about. Like, when I was a kid, back in the 60s, no one was obese. Like, it's true.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, said when I had to kill people, I shot them to the bit of my car.
Montana? Well, I mean, it could have been a Bigfoot, or it could have just been a guy with really big feet. I mean, but me personally, do I think that there is the possibility of a hominid out there that we haven't encountered yet, somewhere in the taiga? Yeah, it's possible. I'm not going to rule it out. It could happen.
Northwest would be easy.
Some of those First Nation people up in near the Slave Lake and stuff, they're always telling people stories about mastodons and shit. And I know what.
But remember the rule.
I know the rule.
First Nations love to fuck with white people. They think it's funny.
Well, I guess I guess those dudes understand how naive we can be. I mean, if you want to tell us about monsters, we're going to be like, okay, cool. Tell us all about these monsters, man. Because
the best is when they figure out how to make money off of it.
And we believe that you have mystical wisdom.
Exactly. And when they figure out how to make money off it, that's the best. That's when I'm just like, go gadget First Nations.
Yeah. Well, I told you about that town in either somewhere in Appalachia. The Cherokee saved up all their money from their gambling shit out in like Idaho or wherever they were sent, and bought a whole town in Appalachia, and they all moved there and incorporated their town, and they speak the Cherokee language in their schools, and they've turned it into a tourist destination. Of course, all the local white people in the region are always going to the Cherokee town because, I mean, we love the Cherokee. We always have. You know, growing up in Kentucky, you always hear these legends about how awesome the Cherokee were, you know? And we all hoped we were related to them, even though it turns out most of us aren't. Or if we are, it's so far back that they can't even find it. But
Shane, who's
doing great, but the nearest white town is basically trailer parks full of meth heads. And it's like, but their town, they're doing their whole thing. And I'm like, well, that's one way to do it. If you want your land back, well, I mean, make a shit ton of money in a casino, buy a town somewhere, buy it, move on in. No one can stop you. It's legal.
And then, if you're really smart, once you're incorporated, you got everything stitched up, you apply for reservation status.
Yeah, they didn't do that, though. They're just citizens of whatever town they're in.
Well, that's fair.
And but they do bilingual in their school. They teach Cherokee, and they got their own alphabet and everything. Oh, there's being attacked by a panther.
Beans.
And plus they speak English. And then of course they do like roadside stalls where they sell arts and crafts and vegetables, and you know. And all the like white people in the neighborhood just love it because, like I said, we like, I don't know, the most racist guy I ever met in my life growing up in Kentucky loved the Cherokee. It was like a thing, you know. They might hate every other people on the planet, even other white people, but they all loved Cherokee. Is the Cherokee were like somehow a special group that could do no wrong, and they knew all the magic of the mountains, and you know, and you always hear these old Cherokee tales, like the whole idea I told you about when you're in the woods at night in Appalachia, you never whistle. That's a Cherokee thing that got passed down to white settlers. Like almost all of our Appalachian witchcraft shit comes from Cherokee stuff.
Does that bring on the moth people or some crazy shit?
Hang on, I want to answer DK's question. Hey, Barry, you told me to watch the Dune films first. Should I wait until the end of the New Deal trilogy before I start the books? No. What you should do is you should watch the 1984 Dune. Then you watch the Sci-Fi Channel Dune miniseries and the Children of Dune miniseries. Then you watch the Villeneuve films. By the time you've done all that, maybe the third movie will be out. Who cares? Doesn't matter, because the end of the second movie is pretty much the end of the first book of Dune. So you're okay at that.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, that's what
on his own.
Yeah, that was my.
You're setting your claws in motion there, buddy.
He set my claws in motion.
Because I feel like the scratches become a warning. Mm-hmm.
I feel like he went too fast. The second movie should not have met Paul. Should not have met Fade. Now there was some stuff that he filmed that was amazing. Like I loved the whole scene where it was Fade Rotha's birthday.
Yeah. I love the whole thing on Geedy Prime where he used that negative camera imaging. I love that.
And the Baron sent in like an actual fighter that wasn't drugged.
Yeah.
And then in the end, Fade killed him, and he looks up at his uncle, and his uncle's just up there looking down, you know, and there's that kind of interaction there, like, okay, you know.
All right, talk to Doc. I'm getting a coffee.
Okay. They did a great job with the filming and everything. They needed to cast anybody but Zendaya.
Yeah, and
but,
there's parts of that I really like. There's a lot of stuff I really don't like in that. I still think, despite the very low production values, the Sci-Fi Channel version is definitely the most faithful.
100%. It is. But the Villeneuve, he got like ornithopters dead on.
Yeah, but that was very good visually.
He got the Sardaukar dead on. You know, I mean, a lot of stuff he got wonderful. It's just the story. He got the imagery right, but then the story was like, where's he going with this? You know, what's going on there? No problem, DK. But
Children of Dune is also Sci-Fi Channel. It's the same
yeah,
same
it's
people.
not very
There
good.
was a couple.
It's
I
okay.
liked the first part, the first half of it, where they do Dune Messiah. I thought that was good.
Yeah, it's okay.
Even Children of Dune is the book where it starts getting goofy for me.
Well, that's the one, like we told DK, where the Baron Harkonnen's memories kind of take over Alia, the knife.
Yeah, I finished God Emperor of Dune, and then I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm done. I started reading
God Emperor of
Heretics.
Dune. That book takes place over the course of like 5,000 years, or 10,000, something like that. I mean, he's the emperor for so long he sets up his own assassination because no one else could assassinate him. Because he could see every future. So, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. And how they assassinate him is dump him in a lake. Because that's really the only way you could kill him. You know, it's like Duke Leto II, emperor of the known universe for like 10,000 years. Yeah.
Well, 2.5. That was a weird, because there actually was a Leto before, Leto II before him that
Who got
died
killed?
as an infant.
Yeah,
That's a weird.
That's
That's a thing Italians do. Old school Italians do. Like if a child dies and they have another one of the same sex, they'll name it, give it the same name. I always found that really, really creepy.
You know, in Judaism, how my pop was is like you never named anyone after someone who was alive. Like you could name somebody after someone who was already dead, but you never, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That kind of makes sense to me. I don't think I would do it either. That seems weird.
Because it was like you're wishing the older person to die or something. There was some, I mean, this is, and it may not even be Jewish. It might be Russian. I don't know. It was something that, you know, great grandma believed. But like I said, she ate pork too. But if you put cheese and meat on a plate in front of her, she would lose her mind. So it's like she kept kosher, kind of. She'd eat a pork roast, though. But apparently, you know.
Yeah, certain rules are more important. Like I remember when I worked at a deli, we had, there was a lot of Jewish people in town. We had to have a separate cheese slicer for it.
Oh, yeah, man. If they're hardcore, like living that kosher lifestyle.
Yeah, even the ones who weren't really strict about it, the ones that would eat ham and stuff, they were really touchy about the cheese.
The cheese, it's dairy and meat is a big thing. And I've been in people's houses where they literally had 2 refrigerators, 2 sets of dishes, like 2 everything. And one refrigerator and said dishes, etc., would be different colored and everything, so that you would know where the dairy and the meat were. You know, it's just they won't name any future King John because of the Lionheart's younger brother, John Lackland, was so bad at ruling. You know, Horrible Histories, which I love, did a song where King John sang and basically denies all of the things he was ever accused of and said it was all just Shakespeare and other people saying negative propaganda about him. He never locked his nephews in the tower. He never had a hump.
Oh, yeah. Shakespeare's plays, you got to remember, he was the Tudors.
He was the Tudors.
Were their patrons, and he did a lot of political propaganda for them.
Yep.
Yeah, so his historical plays have a very distinct slant to them.
I don't mean to put your special needs brother in his place, but I'm going to. I say that with love, Hungar, that you're special needs and that you need a lot of love. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone, I will turn the inner eye and see its path. And where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Right.
That I used to teach my students. I would write it on the whiteboard and be like, here's the lament against fear. Right?
Oh, okay.
When you feel fear, when you're feeling all of that in your stomach, think this to yourself. Repeat this to yourself until it's truth.
A little mantra.
Surprisingly, they all said it helped.
I don't see why it wouldn't, because I do the same thing, except not that. But,
Whenever I hear that in my head, I hear it as Shatner for some reason.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is a little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me, through me. And where it is gone, I will turn the inner eye and see its path. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. I think it works better as Jesse Ventura, but you're not kidding.
I wonder if he ever quoted to himself when he was like in Vietnam in the SEAL teams or whatever.
I saw an interview with Laurence Olivier, and he swore that William Shatner was the best Hamlet he ever saw.
Well, okay, here's what happened. Olivier did Hamlet at Stratford here in Canada when Shatner was an apprentice at Stratford. So clearly, Shatner saw Hamlet and went, that's how you act. The funny thing is, you can find online Olivier's Hamlet, and he sounds like Captain Kirk. It's terrifying.
Well, I think, though, and this goes with my love of Nicolas Cage, people who start out on the screen or on the stage tend to over emote big time.
Well, you have to.
Because
it's because
you're playing for
right?
people.
You're projecting to the back row, man, when you're on
and
stage.
Then when you get on the movie, a lot of times those guys don't dial it back.
Yeah, that's the thing. William Shatner was the stage actor from hell.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like
Nicolas Cage started out as a stage actor, and that's why he was always
Really? You say that, Dr. Flamingo, having seen Star Trek VI, where him and Christopher Plummer are on the same screen together? Have we not heard the bells at midnight, Captain? Plummer's just as bad. He's just as bad. He's just as over the top.
It's like, but I respect it. And even though, like I said, some people may not like Nick Cage, but I like his over the top.
Remember that bit they did on Community, where Abed was taking the class as to whether or not Nick Cage was the greatest actor who ever lived or not, and he does the whole thing where he's like, I watched, 300 hours of Nicolas Cage. Nicolas freaking Cage! Binder in the air. Oh my God, I'm a cat. I'm such a cat. It's just like the funniest fucking thing, because it's like, yeah, Nicolas Cage, just like Keanu Reeves, is one of those actors that if they have a director who knows how to work with an actor, they can get brilliant performances out of them. Stop scratching my leather. But if they don't, if they have a director who just shows up and goes, yeah, act, they suck. They're just too much at that point in time. That said, Mandy is still Cage's greatest film.
Well, I mean, he stands in the bathroom for like 6 minutes screaming in his underwear. I mean, that's just like, okay.
And that thing where he downs the whiskey, I'm pretty sure it was real.
Yeah, he's just chugging out of that half gallon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was legit whiskey.
I always thought Kevin Costner was kind of like that. I always thought he was really bad. He was awesome in a couple, like that Clint Eastwood movie he made, Perfect World. I thought he was amazing in that. He was absolutely amazing.
He's amazing in Silverado.
He's really good in Silverado. Yeah, that was early. That was one of his early films, wasn't it?
And I think he's very good in The Big Show, where he plays the corpse.
Didn't he get taken out?
They cut the flashback scenes where he had flashback scenes, and they cut them, which is why the director put him in his next film to make it up to him. He felt it was so bad that the guy, all the scenes got cut out. There's only one scene of them in a casket. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
But no, acting is a very very, very subjective thing. Like, for example, my father saw One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and hated Jack Nicholson after that. He could not watch a Jack Nicholson film. He fucking hated it because of One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Conversely, my mother watched Family Ties, hated Alex P. Keaton, and could not watch a Michael J. Fox film afterwards. So some people are very affected by these things, and they kind of separate art from artists, right? Like, that's the thing. Louise Fletcher is a perfect example, speaking of One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Nurse Ratched. I have never seen her play a likable character in her career. And she's so good at playing these hateful characters that you can't stand, you know. But you can't deny she's a good actress because of her ability to do that.
Well, she makes you feel.
Yeah.
You have feelings about
Yeah,
it.
I can't think of anything where she wasn't just a bitch on wheels.
Yeah. But that's how I'm sure in real life she was probably a sweetheart. You know what I mean? But she just played that bitch so fucking well.
Yeah, there's a
You
lot of
bitches.
actors like that. Like they always play the villain in every
Yes.
movie, but in real life, they're like the nicest people you ever meet. But this is my snakeskin jacket. Yeah.
That's what's that fucking movie? Can't remember the name of that movie.
Wasn't that the he just died? The director, Racerhead.
David Lynch.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah,
one
it
of
was the one with
his?
him and Laura Dern.
Oh yeah, Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. That's it. Yeah.
Wild at Heart, was that the one where the two young ladies have like a thing in a, or am I thinking about something else?
No, you're thinking of Desert Hearts, which is about the two young ladies having the thing.
Yeah, and the one had married Charlie Sheen for a little while, but then divorced him. And
Was Charlie Sheen in that?
I don't know if Charlie Sheen was in the movie I'm talking about, but I think he had married Reese, whatever her name is, or the one that was in Starship Troopers as the pilot.
Oh, that's Denise Richards. No, you're thinking of Wild Things.
Wild Things. Okay.
That's where her and Katie Holmes have the, not Katie Holmes, her and, yeah, it's Katie Holmes, isn't it? Wild Things? No, it's, what's her name? Oh, God, Dawson's Creek. No, what's her name?
Dawson's Creek is Katie Holmes.
Nev Campbell. It's Nev Campbell from Seventh Heaven or whatever the fuck.
Right. They're making out in a pond or something.
That's a very weird film with Matt Dillon.
Oh,
Yeah.
where they poison him at the end? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
But I mean, there are a lot of guys that. Now, me personally, one of my favorite actors, only because he's in so many movies that I absolutely love, is Max Sydow.
Max Sydow is an amazing actor.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I mean,
Ming the Merciless.
Ming
so
the Merciless.
Amazing. He was
King
so
Osric.
amazing.
He was King Osric in Conan. He was in so many of those horror.
There comes a
Hammer
time,
movies or whatever.
thief, when the throne room becomes a prison. You know, like just yeah, and all a man has left is the love of life.
He had a fight scene in Conan that got cut out, where they kill him.
There's an assassination scene which got cut out, where they basically see him sitting on the throne and they cut away, and then you see the shadows stabbing him to death.
Oh,
And
I
they
thought he had
restored
like
it.
a whole.
No,
I thought he had a whole battle scene.
not that I know of.
Mini War Mutt. Hey, how you doing, bro? Good to see you. And Nicolas Cage getting the crap slapped out of him by Sharon Moonstruck.
I've never seen Moonstruck.
Yeah, you know he's in because of his massive debt. He's in a lot of movies you've never heard of, and what's weird is some of them are actually good.
Well, he's a Coppola, right?
Yeah,
he
in
changed his
Fast
name
Times
to-
at Richmond
The
High.
name,
he's
the
listed
name
as
Cage
Coppola.
is from Luke Cage.
Yeah, he didn't want to be a nepo baby.
Yeah, and he took the name Cage because he loved Luke Cage. It was his
who
favorite
doesn't?
comic book
I
character.
mean, season
Yeah,
one of the movie or the series Luke Cage was amazing.
First season was good. Yeah, the first
that
season was
first
really
season
good.
was amazing.
In Fast
But,
Times at Richmond High, he's listed as Nick Coppola in the credits.
Is he?
Yeah.
In one he's in, which is like a super B movie. It's like The Human something.
A lion ate him.
Yeah, he has to go around and like determine if people are providing more worth than like they're taking, and anyone who isn't, they say they're sending to another planet, but in reality they're just incinerating them,
As you do.
killing and incinerating them. And so Nicolas Cage eventually figures out what's going on, and he tries to stop it and whatever. And And then he's in another one where like he keeps learning all these dates, and every one of these dates, some horrible thing happens, and he's losing his mind. And
Not Calendar Man or something like that.
yeah, I forget what it's called, but it was pretty neat, you know. And like he's just in, of course, you know, Willy's Wonderland, where he doesn't really say anything in the whole movie.
Nothing. He doesn't have one word.
He just beats the shit out of animatronic demon-possessed monsters.
Yeah.
And then he's in the other one where he has to go into the ghost lands to wreck it.
Okay.
And
Hang
he gets a testicle blown out in that movie.
Hang on. 2020, for just that period of time, okay? He's in a movie called Jiu-Jitsu. He's in Cruise the New Age, Prisoners of the Ghostland, Willy's Wonderland, Pig, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, Butcher's Crossing, The Old Way, Renfield, The Flash, Sympathy for the Devil, Dream Scenario, The Retirement Plan, Arcadian, The Surfer, and Longlegs. So he did 16 movies in 4 years. What the fuck? That's got to be some kind of record.
Coco says he wants a lion ate him on his
The
tombstone.
lions ate him.
That would be amazing, because you know how sometimes people, you're walking through the graveyard to visit and you're reading tombstones on your way to visit whoever you're visiting, and to see lions ate him on somebody's tombstone, you would stop and take a double. You'd be like, the lion.
I have heard a story. I'm not sure if it's true. I want to find out that DeForest Kelly's tombstone says, "I'm dead, Jim."
I doubt it.
It's so amazing.
If that's true, that
as
is
of 2024, Nicolas Cage has been in 116 films.
Well, you know, he's in severe debt to the Chinese.
Why?
Because he bought a bunch of dinosaur skeletons from Chinese people who ripped him off. Because what they did is they got skeletons from the correct era, but that were like super cheap, and they ground them up and they made like a mortar out of them and recast them into the bones of like an expensive rare skeleton, and they sold them to Nick Cage for millions.
Almost sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Bad news for you, Doc. DeForest Kelly's ashes were scattered in the Pacific Ocean. He does not.
Oh, so this is apocryphal. Oh, that makes me sad.
His best movie is Con Air. I don't know. Nick Cage's best movie, I think, is probably The Rock.
The Rock is an amazing film.
Oh, I hated The Rock.
But Mandy is his best. Losers always whine about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Well, everybody in The Rock was a good actor.
Oh, yeah.
The dude who played the bad guy, he is a great
Ed, what the fuck was
Ed
his
Harris.
name? Ed Harris.
Ed Harris,
he's
great
great.
actor. Everybody was a great actor. That was a well-written movie, because even though what the bad guys were doing was absolutely deplorable, you could almost feel for them. Because they had a reason, and the reason was understandable.
Yeah.
They were sick and tired of the fact that as Marine veterans, they kept getting screwed over by the government. Now,
They were specifically Marine Force Recon, weren't they?
They were all some kind of thing, and were all getting screwed over. Doesn't give them the right to nuke a planet with bioweapons, or nuke a city, but you can
It was San
understand
Francisco,
their
in
point.
fairness.
Windtalkers was really good. Windtalkers was good. Have you heard of Rocket Man? Are you talking about the old superhero movie where the guy, or are you talking about Shatner doing Rocket Man as a spoken word?
Yeah. Rocket Man!
You know,
I still think his Mr. Tambourine Man's better.
yeah, Shatner sitting there, he's smoking a cigarette in that dark theater, and he's like, my
Picture
flight
yourself
takes off
on a
6 a.m.
boat on a river. Tangerine trees and marmalade skies. Look, it's so fucking
You
surreal.
remember the Futurama version with the Star Trek cast? How the hell do you do a spoken word version of a rap song? He found a way.
He did a later album where he had like a song with Henry Rollins, and he did it with Joe Jackson and stuff. It was a fucking great album. It's a really good album.
Well, that's like Christopher Lee, who a lot of people may or may not have known, like did metal.
Yeah, death metal band. Fuck.
Death metal band.
Okay. Identify this movie by the quote, and let me finish the quote before you guys tell me what the movie is, okay?
Okay.
Humans. You're not worth the flesh you're printed on.
Got it.
Fuck this cowboy shit, you fucking hoedown, podunk, well them there motherfuckers. All you have to do is give me the goddamn key. Let me get on with our lives. What movie is that?
Demon Knight.
Yes, sir. Billy
That's Billy
Zane
Zane.
proving he was worth every fucking penny they paid him and more to be in that movie.
He was so good as,
Oh.
I mean, he was such a smarmy demon.
Yeah.
Like he was like, and you know, my favorite scene is the one that has like the Ghetto Boys beat in the background when he's talking to Jada. He's like, you don't have to be here. Imagine. You know, like, and he's doing the whole thing and it's showing her in Paris and all these, you know, and he's like, all you gotta do is let me in.
Yeah. I like when he offers CJ Pounder the arm, and she just puts her stump up and you
Yeah.
agreeing? Nah, I'm giving you the finger.
Uncle Willie,
Oh, Jesus.
try some of mine, Uncle Willie.
It'll get you
Man.
fucked up for sure.
Get you fucked up. Yeah, he's the bartender all dressed up like, come here and get a long drink of this, Uncle Willie.
Yeah.
Nothing get you fucked up faster, whatever. I mean, Billy Zane was just all over the place in that movie, and he was amazing.
To this day, because of that movie, I still say Vaya con Diablos to people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, when he's going to let the one guy go, Roach, but then he's like, hey, Roach, I lied. And then
Yeah.
on the deep meeting. Yeah. And it was all like, but I love that scene. He's out there in his cowboy hat. He's like, I tried to do it the easy way, but you wouldn't have it.
Yep.
Fine.
Fucking hoe down, podunk, well then there, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Fine.
You're not worth the
Do it
flesh
the
you
easy way,
printed
we'll
on.
do it the hard way.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
His house is hereby condemned. He just cuts his hand open and starts throwing goop everywhere. Fuck. It's
Yeah.
a great movie. Like that movie introduced me to the song Hey Man, Nice Shot by Phil.
Which is amazing song, Filter. And also based on the fact that guy got set up for being corrupt and shot himself on stage.
on TV, on live TV.
Yeah. To draw attention to how effed up it was wherever up in Pennsylvania or wherever it was.
Yeah.
You know? And now they don't make politicians like that anymore. I mean,
So did you hear they finally picked Trudeau's replacement?
no, I did not, sir.
Yeah, it's the continuation of the same type of bullshit. It's
So
this
the
guy,
lady.
Mark Carney. No, they didn't pick her, thank Christ. The one solace we can all take is that Chrystia Freeland didn't get it. But no, it's this guy, Mark Carney, or as Polyev calls him, Carbon Tax Carney. We'll see how
Danny
it works out.
Warbutt talks about the
Do they have any
Ballad
chance
of
of staying
Bilbo
in?
Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins, bravest little hobbit of them all. Yeah.
Yeah. That just shows that he was doing some crazy ass drugs in the 60s.
Who wasn't? Come on.
Yeah. Nimoy. I think he was
Oh, I
born
watched,
in Russia, but like one of the first things he did was leave.
I watched Once Upon a Time in America, the
That's a good
Tarantino
one.
film. I did not like it.
Once Upon a Time in America is a good
Yeah, when it
Western.
was over, I was like, meh.
That's one of
I didn't
Sergio
care.
Leone's good ones.
Eh?
I think that's Sergio Leone, isn't it?
No. Once Upon a Time in America is Tarantino's last film.
No, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, isn't it?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Sorry, Once Upon a Time in
Once-
Hollywood. My apologies.
Once
I'm
Upon a
thinking
Time
Once Upon a
America.
Time in the West.
No. Yeah, I'm thinking. I made the
I'm
wrong
thinking
name for it. Sorry.
where you got
Once Upon a
Henry
Time in
Fonda
Hollywood,
playing a
sorry.
serial killing bastard.
Sorry. Apologies. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I've liked his
That's
last
pretty-
several
that's-
movies.
That's what's his name? Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt. Leonardo DiCaprio, who are both very good. That girl who's in the Substance with Demi Moore, who plays the young version of her, Margot, whatever, she's fucking hot. Oh, Jesus
Margot
Christ.
Robbie.
Not Margot Robbie. Margaret Qualley. She's fucking hot. Margot Robbie is in it though. She's in it as Sharon Tate, and it's really you know what? She's actually really enjoyable to watch as the character in the movie. Like she's probably the best part. Just the innocent way she's kind of going through life, like just kind of existing. She sneaks into a movie theater to watch her movie that's playing, and it's a really nice scene, you know. But overall, the movie, I was just like, what the fuck is this? And then just like Inglourious Bastards, he changes history in the ending of the film, where they don't kill, like they don't have Helter Skelter and all this shit. It's like, fuck, man,
Well,
Man.
Yeah, I thought his westerns in particular were terrible.
Oh, I liked Django Unchained, and I really liked Hateful Eight.
Really, that thing where he interrupts the story as the director to explain what's going on, that just destroyed that movie.
Wouldn't bother me.
Wasn't Django Unchained though a remake?
Yes,
Yeah,
it wasn't a remake so much as it was a.
The
I
title.
don't know what to call it. A reboot, I don't know.
Yeah. Because I know that there was a movie back in the day called Django Unchained.
There was a whole series of Django movies.
Yeah. Now, the Hateful Eight, I didn't watch.
It's the
But I
thing.
will tell you this. Hollywood surprised me with the remake of The Magnificent Seven.
Never saw it.
The remake was actually really kind of good. I mean, I think the original is probably better. But how they surprised me.
I agree. Seven Samurai is a much better film.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, Kurosawa did a great job with his Seven Samurai.
He
But
always said he made more money off of Magnificent Seven than he ever made off of Seven Samurai.
well, the thing with Kurosawa, before I get back to the thing that surprised me, was that him and like Marconi were constantly trading back and forth. It was like half of Kurosawa's films were based on Westerns, and half the Westerns were based on samurai movies that Kurosawa was doing. It was like there was this weird cross-pollination going on.
I have seen the remake of Magnificent from 2016 with Chris Pratt in it and Denzel Washington.
And
What was
Chris
the
Pratt's
space one
character
with John
surprised
Boy?
the hell out of me.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Right.
Because Chris Pratt's character in that movie was a Confederate cavalry officer.
He was
And
really
I
good.
did not expect that in a modern Hollywood movie. And in the end, he charged in and died. But, that was his whole thing. And then the other guy was a Union officer that kind of had shell shock from all the shit he'd seen in the war.
Yeah.
And they had to get him back to, and of course, Denzel Washington's, a motherfucking King Kong. I mean, what are you going to do? It's Denzel Washington.
I could literally just watch a
not a
movie
bad
where
movie.
Denzel Washington reads the phone book and it'd be like, nominate this for greatest picture of the year. Come on.
It's like he was good in Equalizer, and that's not even the kind of role you expect to see Denzel in.
I like the first Equalizer a lot.
My favorite Denzel, though, is Book of Eli.
That movie is
That's a
so
really
good.
movie.
We watched it on my Discord like a couple of months ago. It's such a good movie, man.
And I'll tell you what, I think I already told you this, Bear. It tricked me.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie, I didn't know he was blind till the end.
Yeah.
Now, my pops, 5 minutes in, he's like, that dude's blind. And I'm like, what? No. But he did the same thing when we sat down to watch Fight Club. I'd already watched it, so I knew. Within 5 minutes, he's like, that Tyler Durden is that other guy's imagination, isn't he? And I'm like, how do you know this shit? And he's like, I don't know. I just, I'm like, but
Did he know that Bruce Willis was dead in the seventh?
He always guesses this shit. And it's crazy because, one, he's super smart. And he could have been a New York police officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he decided instead to be a hippie and smoke a lot of weed. So I always joke with him that he smoked himself retarded. but he's constantly doing like this weird, like super genius shit, you know, like guessing shit. But then again, he also never spoke a word until he's 5.
Did
Like
you?
his parents had took him to therapy and all this shit, trying to figure out what was wrong with him. And then when he was around 5 years old, he just started talking.
So talk about guessing the film. I took my buddy to see Lord of the Rings when it came out, Fellowship of the Ring. He's never read the books. He knows nothing about the story. Zero. He's like, all right, let's go see this thing everybody talks about. I'll see it. Sean Bean's name comes up in the credits, and he looks at me and goes, is Sean Bean going to betray everybody and then get killed? And I was just like, I couldn't say anything. I'm like, watch the movie,
At
man.
this point, it's a running joke. It's like
Yep.
you're casting for a movie, and you're like, okay, we need somebody, and they're gonna die. Oh, Sean Bean. You know, it's
And
like,
that's why I like the movie Ronin with De Niro, because he doesn't.
he doesn't die, but he was a great bad guy in the James Bond movie because
Oh, he was 006.
because
Was
in the
008.
end, what made him a great villain is, again, he was a bad guy, but you kind of understood why. You know, because he felt betrayed about how his Cossack kin had been treated by the Allies, you know, and handed over to the Soviets and blah, 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 right?
I still think killing him in that movie was a mistake. He could have been a Blofeld level villain.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like the next movie, we don't see him. And then the movie after that, we find out halfway through that he's still alive and he's got this whole master game set up to kill Bond. You know, it would have been like, wow. You know?
It'd been like a Bond versus Bond. Ethan Hawke. Was I wrong, Minnie Warhawk? Was Ethan Hawke the Confederate guy that? I mean, I'm not a neo-Confederate. I don't want the Union to split or any crazy shit like that. But I did have relatives that did wear the gray. So I am kind of proud of the brave men on both sides. On both sides. I want to say that. Whether they were wearing blue or gray coats, I am proud of those young men who were willing to fight for what they believed in, even though I am 100% opposed to slavery, which I don't feel like anyone should ever have to say in the modern world. I feel like that.
Unless they're from Libya. You know, if they're from Libya.
Unless you're from
yeah.
Libya or someplace like that, then yeah. But
Just saying,
But
because there
as
are
a
open air
North
slave markets in
American-
Libya.
no one in North America should ever be like, oh, I'm anti-slavery. It's like, have you ever met anyone in here or Kanokistan that's been like, you know what, I like slaves?
I knew a black guy who felt white people should be enslaved.
Yeah, but that's just him being angry because if he was in Canada, he's got nothing to talk shit about.
Well, he was from Guadeloupe.
Okay, I was just saying, if he was a Canadian, it's like
He wasn't a Canadian. He was from
Canadians never
Guadeloupe.
enslaved you guys.
But he was what I like to call a stupid smart person.
There's a
He
lot
was
of those.
very
out
well
there.
educated, but he was dumb as a fucking fence post.
Oh yeah,
And,
Sean Bean.
and I told him, we had an argument one day where it finally ended with me going, Alvin, so long as you can't see past the color of your skin, no one else will.
Yeah,
Because
'cause
you
you're not
use
gonna
this in
let 'em.
every fucking argument, you know?
You're not going to let them, you know. But yeah, if you're not from the deep South and you're a black person, shut up. You probably was never slaves.
And if you're Irish and you feel the need to beak off that the Irish were once slaves, remember the word slave comes from Slav, from the
Slav.
Slavic people. And you know what? Even then, shut the fuck up.
Well, you know, it's not like the Serbs sit around, you know, bemoaning. Because I know a lot of Serbs. They don't bemoan. Now, do they hate Muslims? Yes. But that has nothing to do with slavery.
Now, hang on.
That's a
Is it
purely
the Bosnians that hate the Croats, or is it the Croats who hate the Serbs? I get so confused as to who hates who in the Balkans.
Croats and Serbs hate each other, but it's mostly Serbs hate Croats because the Croats committed a lot of war atrocities in World War II because the Croats sided with the Germans.
So who hates the Bosnians?
Serbs and Croats.
And they both hate the Bosnians.
Well, because Croats are Roman Catholic, Serbs are Orthodox Christian.
And Bosnians
Bosnian
are
Herzegovinians are Muslims.
Muslims. Okay.
And of course, everyone hates the Albanians, even the Bosnians.
And they pick on the poor Albanians too. Because like the Albanians are like, They're just sitting there trying to be like Albanians, and they make like all these fucking like boy girl art about them, and they're constantly accusing Albanians being trannies and stuff. Like,
or they
brutal.
draw pictures of anytime they draw pictures of Albanians, they make them look as apish as possible.
But the one thing they all do is they all get together in their hate of Turks.
They all hate Turks. That is a fact.
Like,
as a matter of fact, that is an insult. Some of my relatives visited Serbia a couple years back because, like I said, related to some of them, and through a marriage. But Turk is an insult. It's like the N word in America. If you really piss a Serb off and they call you a Turk, that's like, that's fighting shit right there. I mean,
will you ever watch? You watch
if you say Kosovo anywhere near Serbians, someone will immediately scream back, "Is Serbia?"
Like Aussies.
All you guys say,
whenever you see an Australian, you just go Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. They can't help themselves. They yell back, "Oi, oi, oi!" They can't help themselves.
Or Texas, the stars at night are big and bright, and the Texans clap deep in the heart of Texas.
But
you're hanging out anywhere near Serbians. All you got to do is say Kosovo, and you'll hear 20 of them yell, "Is Serbia?"
There's that guy living ironically in Europe. He always, whenever he does his videos, he mentions Turks. He shows pictures of animated cockroaches. It's like they hate Turks over there.
The Balkans are really a weird place. It's like if Appalachia was an entire region. Well, Appalachia is an entire region, but okay, it's like if Appalachia was full of Muslims and Orthodox Christians and Roman Catholics.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the Balkans is the Appalachians of Europe.
That's how I should have said it. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the Greeks love the Serbs and vice versa, but they both kind of hate the North Macedonians.
Yeah, they got a weird Macedonian thing. They always draw Macedonians as monkeys.
They do. And then the Bulgarians, they hate the Macedonians because they said the Macedonians are just Bulgarians trying to pretend like they're not Bulgarians.
I'm trying to remember if it's the Bulgarians or the Belarusians. I think it's the Bulgarians. When they say no, they nod their head. And when they say yes, they shake their head.
They are strange, but they were originally from northern Russia. They were the Volga Bulgarians, and they invaded the Eastern Roman Empire 1,000 years ago, and they set up a country. Why not? And then the Romanians all sound like Luigi or Mario when they talk.
Oh my God.
They're Orthodox, but they are not
all of them. And,
not all of them.
And they celebrate Christmas on December 25th.
Well, some Orthodox do.
Yeah, but in Romania, there are Romanians who do the January 6th thing, but most of Romanians celebrate the 25th.
Because they're Latins.
Yeah.
They're not Slavs, which is really weird. They're
two things you don't call a Romanian. You don't call them a Slav, and you don't call them a Gypsy, because those are fighting words. Both of them.
And if you want to piss Serbs off, tell them that they're Celts or Goths, because apparently there were people who were going around saying that the Serbians were actually Celtic or Gothic peoples. And Tito, when he ruled Yugoslavia, put into that shit. And he's like, no, we are Slavs. So do not belittle us by trying to say that we're these other people. I mean, that place is a madhouse where you will be drinking with people one day and the next day you'll be cutting their heads off. It's I mean, we put into it now. Mostly they get along. My grandfather.
The Greek Macedonia thing is particularly funny to me because that's like a beef that goes back like nearly 3,000 years. And it's really pointless.
I knew a guy
goes back a long time.
But that whole area of the world is fucked up. I used to work with a bouncer in Vancouver. His name was Herdonitis, was his family name. We were talking. And he goes, I said, oh, Herdonitis. I said, so you're Greek? He goes, no, I'm Cypriot. I went, oh, so you're Turk? No, I'm Cypriot. I went, well, listen, Cyprus has Turks and Greeks, and your name ain't Turkish. So figure out what the fuck you are, man. But no one else is going Cypriot. Only you are doing this.
Yeah.
I remember,
George,
I think it was in the
weirdly-
90s, they refounded Macedonia as a country. I remember there's this huge protest. I was in Washington at the time, and I was like, what do you want them to do about it? Bomb them?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're calling the country.
Snatch was
Yeah,
an
but-
amazing movie, and Brad Pitt played a pikey as well as I've ever seen anybody play a pikey.
They weren't gypsies; they were pikeys. There's a difference.
Yeah, pikeys are
Pikeys
different.
are
They're the
Celtic.
Irish Wanderers,
Yeah, the travelers,
and
which you have in America.
which
Yeah,
we
we have a
have a
couple
ton of in
families
North
of them.
Carolina. Apparently,
Yeah.
they have a whole base there,
Yeah.
and they wander around North America, shoplifting and stealing and running heists, and
And
doing
roofing.
When I was in Vancouver working security, every year in Vancouver they used to have. Now it's the Roma, but at the time it was the Gypsies, and there was a Gypsy gathering in Vancouver.
Mhm.
And for that week, every store that could afford it would like quadruple their security staff. Because what the women would do is they would just walk into the store in like a group of 50 and then leave. And it was like locust clearing a field. You know what I mean? Like it was insane. So, and then we'd get hired and we'd get put in these stores as like loss prevention. And we're like, what do you want us to do? They all have knives. What do you want us to do about it?
Yeah. Do you want a dag?
You like dags?
You
You
like
dogs?
dags?
Yeah, I like dogs.
And he's like, "Yeah, I like dogs. You're welcome." It's like,
Holy fuck, what are the size of that one? What did you say?
yeah, and then they trick him into the fight,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "What Tommy didn't know is that Mickey was the pikey bare knuckle boxing champion." Which, if you
Ask
don't know
yourself one
me,
question.
he is as hard as a
Why
cop.
isn't the
you know?
pikey pulling a face right now? No,
When he's sitting
I
there crying, and he's like, "Tommy had better be praying that whoever the big guy is wakes up, because it's a lot easier to bury two bodies than explain one dead man."
the Blu-ray, you had subtitles, then you had pikey subtitles, and there was one time it was just Brad Pitt subtitles. And then there's that scene where he's going on about the caravan de blue, and he does that whole litany. They just put question marks on those subtitles.
Yeah,
Brad
she's
Pitt
not part of the
subtitles.
Periwinkle Blue Boys.
But he goes
Yeah, when
on.
they take them out with the rabbits, and they just f them over so bad, and they leave, and they're like, "I sent you here to get a caravan, and now we owe them a caravan."
Be that as it may, all bets are off.
Oh yeah, when if you watch, I watched the actors commenting, and the black guys in the movie, their comment was, "We didn't die." Because you know how in so many movies the brothers always get killed. They didn't get killed, and they're like, "Yeah, we didn't get killed. We actually survived the whole movie."
Have anything to declare?
they didn't
Yeah,
do
don't go to
very well.
fucking England.
Fucking- when they walk into the bar, and that one creepy looking bastard sitting there, and he's like, he puts his pistol on the table, and he's like, "The fact that your pistol says replica on the side and mine says Desert Eagle .50 should necessitate your balls to shriveling up on our
Yeah, it's a bullet tooth Tony.
bullet tooth tongue." Why do they call
Abby,
it
pull
bullet
up your
tooth?
socks.
Yeah, grab your socks, Abby. And then
That's such a good movie.
Boris
Like,
the Bullet Dodger.
yeah, Boris the Bullet Dodger. Fuck, when he walks in and he's all pissed off, and he goes into the house to get the guns. He's like, he's just fucking
Comes out with the
rambling in
AK.
Russian.
He's like, why do they call him Bullet Dodger? Because he dodges bullets, Avi. And poor Avi's like, "I thought you people invented the language. None of you speak it."
So a lot of people like Lock, Stock better. I prefer Snatch by a light year over Lock, Stock.
I like both, but I think you're right that when it comes to the level of acting and hilarity,
Snatch is a next level. It's like,
I mean, the first 10 minutes, you know, that's going to be.
yeah.
Like when, what's his name? Del Toro or whatever is on the phone. He's like, "And don't gamble. I hear you, Ave.
I hear you, Ave."
It's Viva Las Vegas."
Yeah.
Freaking, you know, and it's like,
The the other movie, the other British series for that, everybody loves Shaun of the Dead, and it's a good movie. But I fucking adore Hot Fuzz. I have watched Hot Fuzz 10 times. I fucking love that movie.
Me and my wife used to put that on every night when we got in bed. That was our going to sleep movie because we loved it so much.
Yeah.
And that's another
Snatch.
English movie where every single actor or actress in that movie was amazing.
Yep.
And then you had that one guy that spoke like Cockney.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like,
But the scene where he does the translation with the country farmer, so the country farmer, then the other guy's like, he doesn't know where it come from.
they had to bring the old dude out there to figure it out. And it's like, where did you get all these guns? And he's like, hey, he says he found them. He even had like a World War II sea mine just hanging out. Freaking, that movie was good. That movie
I love Hot Fuzz.
And what's his name? The guy that played the Hound was in it.
Yes, as Michael.
As the guy who was always like, Yarp.
Will he be getting up again, Michael? Yarp?
No.
Very good. Meet me at the. It's just fuck. I love that movie. Yeah, the pig farm is Snatch, and that's Bricktop. Bricktop. Don't.
Oh, Bricktop for a short little dude with thick ass glasses, scary. He was a scary guy.
Yeah,
like
no, I mean, come on, that whole fucking quote. Do you know what nemesis means? A righteous indignation of retribution manifested by an appropriate agent, personalized in this case by an horrible cunt. Fuck.
And his boy Errol, should we bleed him out now, boss? No, not quite yet, Errol. And the black guys are just like, oh shit.
What did I tell you about talking, Harold?
I liked Rock and Roll. It was actually my favorite Guy Ritchie movie.
2 ton. Are we MAGAs or libs? We don't talk about that.
Don't give a
It's
fuck.
impolite to bring up religion and politics.
Except you talk about religion all the fucking time.
Yeah, but I'm just talking to the guy from Twitch. We're talking about Snatch.
And we're talking about Hot Fuzz, and we're talking about
all
good
of those
movies.
great British movies. But yeah, whatever his name is, that little dude with the thick glasses.
Yeah.
Give me that little dummy.
You take sugar? No, thanks, Turkish. I'm already sweet enough.
No, that guy was a scary crime boss.
He, Alan Ford.
I thought this was a political channel. No, actually, this is a gaming channel. But we also talk about whatever we want to talk about because we're just a bunch of old bastards talking about whatever enters into our mind at any given time.
Yep.
But sometimes we do talk politics, but that doesn't mean the 3 guys you see on the panel agree at all with politics. You know, I mean, but we're still friends because we're adults.
Hey, Alan Ford, Bricktop. He was the taxi driver in American Werewolf in London.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Another great movie. And it's hard to believe that. I think that movie was directed by the same guy that directed Blues Brothers.
Yeah, John Landis. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that kind of a... And didn't he do Ghostbusters too?
No, Ghostbusters is Harold Ramis.
Yeah. Okay. So the same guy who did...
No, sorry, not Harold Ramis. Ivan Reitman. Ivan Reitman. My apologies. Ivan
did
Reitman.
the Blues Brothers movie. Is like, that's a good director because that's a hell of a range.
Yeah, but he's also the director who killed, what's his name, in the 2 Vietnamese kids doing The Twilight Zone.
Oh, I see. And Vic Morrow and
Vic Morrow.
The kids. Yeah.
Yeah. And he got off, and he should never have gotten off because he was responsible. But his son is Max Landis, and Max Landis got into a lot of trouble with the cancel Me Too thing. But Max Landis is a very talented guy. If you ever watch his thing about, he has this great video where he gets drunk and he explains, you don't care about Superman. No one cares about Superman. And he just goes on this fucking drunken rant about Superman. And then they shot all these insert scenes with dressed up like Justice League characters. It's really
Didn't
good.
he also do Animal House?
John Landis, yes.
Yes. Okay.
No, thank you, Turkish. I'm sweet enough.
Werewolf in London, as bloody and horrible as parts of it was, it was almost a comedy.
Which one? American Werewolf in London is a dark comedy. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Griffin Dunn's character proves it.
it's like the guy who keeps showing up after he's dead.
That's Griffin Dunn, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like that's a good movie though.
Yeah. So
Any good
all foreign movies, and I've told you this before, James, and I don't know if you watched it, but I tell everybody this, and I will tell you all. There's a Russian film called Wolfhound.
I watched it. It was good.
It's fucking amazing, but watch it in Russian with subtitles. Do not use the American English dub. That movie will blow your fucking mind. It's so good. It's like the Russian Conan or something. It's amazing.
Well, the other one that I watched that I really loved that was Russian was Vikings.
Yeah, you were talking about how into that movie you were. I still haven't been able to find it, but yeah.
It's on YouTube. It's free to watch. You can get it with subtitles or dubbed. And it's all about the son of Olga, equal to the apostles. Remember the saint that burned all those people alive for killing her husband? Well, her grandson, Vladimir, the Great, first he had to kill, his brothers. Well, one of them. And then he basically converted all of Russia to Orthodoxy. But in between all of that, he, murdered a bunch of people and went to war with the Pechenegs tribes. And, there's a lot that went on. I mean, it was full on,
Wolfhound's on YouTube. I'm going to have to mark this and watch it later.
Based on the true
Wolfhound
story,
doesn't have, it has a little bit of nudity, but it's just an amazing story. And it does something, and I worked in film for over 20 years. And I will tell you right now.
Want movies with intense sex scenes? That's American.
Movies are shot out of sequence, right? They shoot movies out of sequence. That's the way it's done. You shoot all your scenes at one location on one day or 2 days, and then you move to a new location and shoot all the scenes that have to happen there, right? Wolfhound, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, because you watched it. Mm-hmm. The filming, the acting, everything just gets better and better and better as the movie goes on. Like, it's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen, but I fucking am blown away by that movie.
It is good. The bad guys are good. The good guys are good. Everyone. I mean.
And who didn't want a bat as a fucking familiar or as a pet after seeing that one in action?
Right? It's kind of like the movie Hero, which at this point, I'm really dating myself since it came out like 20 years ago.
I remember that movie.
Such a great movie. I mean, made in China.
Yep.
You don't think that people outside of Hollywood can make movies. And then all of a sudden you see these films that are coming out of India, China, Russia, England always.
Korea makes some actually really good movies.
Oh, what's the one with the guy who? What's the Korean movie with the guy who runs the food truck by the river, and then the monster comes out of the river and takes his daughter, and it's the whole film is him chasing the monster.
Oh,
yeah.
That fucking movie was so good.
There's another Korean movie where, like, I don't know if it's demonic possession or evil spirits, but this village has some crazy shit going on, and this guy goes there to try. I mean, the Koreans, for some reason, they really love horror movies.
Yeah.
And they make a ton of them.
Funny. I can't say anybody. You want to see the best Bollywood film? Watch My Name is Khan. My Name is Khan is a fucking amazing film. And it's about this guy who's basically falls in love with this girl, and then all the bad shit happens after 9/11, and his name is Khan. And she basically says to him, if you want to win me back, you need to go and tell President Bush that your name is Khan and you are not a terrorist. And the whole film is about him trying to get to this point. It is so fucking good. This movie is amazing. It'll blow your mind away. But it's also Shawan Khan, right? And that guy's an amazing actor. So it's
that reminds me of that idiot, whoever it was, that thought it'd be a good idea to shoot up a Sikh temple because he didn't know the difference. Like, he thought he was shooting up Islamic a mosque, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah, he was
actually
shooting
a
up Sikhs, like the
temple.
nicest, chillest fucking people on the
It's
planet.
like in Tennessee or somewhere, and
Yeah.
everybody and like all America that knows anything was just like, "Quoi?" You know, "Pourquoi? What are you doing, idiot?" Those were the wrong ones. Figure it out. You know, sort
There's your
yourself out.
fucking.
Not that you should be shooting up anyone, but come on. But so I get my name is Khan because you hear, but I know if I hear a guy whose name is Khan, I assume Sikh.
The Korean movie I'm trying to think of is called The Host.
The Host, yeah.
That's a good fucking movie.
Yeah. You had the one guy that lived up in the mountains, and then you had all this other crazy shit going
No.
on.
The Host is the one where it's the guy who has the food truck and the
Oh,
monster
and
comes
he's
out of the
chasing
river.
sea monster, yeah.
Yeah, the monster that comes out of the river and it steals his daughter, and he spends the whole film trying to get his daughter back. It's such a good movie.
There was another Korean movie about a fisherman,
Yeah,
and he was out at night fishing. He caught some weird thing, and
yeah.
And the next thing you know, like the whole world gets invaded by these weird tentacle monsters. It's very like Cthulhu-like. Let's see. My name is Khan, Khan, Khan. A lot of Sikh people take the name Khan.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. And then a lot of people who are idiots don't understand that just because a guy's a little darker, swarthier skinned and wearing a turban does not mean he's Arabic. There's a good chance he's Punjabi. He's from northern India. Yep. So, you know, and is a Sikh, which is, if I were not Orthodox Christian, I would probably be either a Zoroastrianist or Sikh. Because of all the non-Christian religions, those are the two that I think are as
well, think about this. Okay, think about this. If you have a Gurdwara, a Sikh temple in your city,
we do.
Every day, you can go there at lunch, and they will feed you.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to do is take your shoes off and put on a turban, which they have head wraps available. You can just run these little ones that just cover up. That's all they ask. If you go into the actual temple part of the Gurdwara, you'll see where the shrine is, or the altar. People are leaving bags of rice, bags of beans, bags of flour. That's what the community gives. Then the women of the community go and they cook a meal every day for anyone to come eat. Mm-hmm. It's probably some of the best vegetarian Indian food you'll ever have.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be a vegetarian, Indian food is
the way to go. Yeah. So my buddy was got sent by the call center we both worked for to the Delhi. Got sent to Delhi to set up a call center, and every day for lunch he was going out and buying food. And one of the guys was like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to get lunch." He goes, "Come with me." And he took him to the Gurdwara in Delhi, which is one of the biggest in the world, right? And he goes, the food was so fucking good. He goes, the line went around the block, because everybody's there. And he goes, and if you want to help out, you can offer to do like dishes or sweep the floors. And they're like, absolutely, come on in and help out. There's no obligation, but they believe in the religion, it is their obligation. Feed people. Imagine if Catholics believe that, huh?
They believe it is their obligation to help everyone weaker than them. They have like really good tenets, and they're incredibly brave. There's a movie I watched about the 27 Sikh guys that defended that little fort against like 10,000 Pakistani raiders in 1800 something. During the Sepoy uprising, the Sikhs stayed loyal to the British, and there's a story where the rebels were trying to take over an armory that was British, I think in Bombay, and in the end, everyone died except for 2 Sikh gentlemen and the British lieutenant that was leading the unit. Mm-hmm. And rather than let that armory fall, those 3 men set it up and blew it up. And that's how Sikh are. You know what I mean? If a Sikh gives his word to you that he's going to do a thing, he will do it every time, right? Even if it means they die. Like our temple, I call it a temple because I don't know the real word for it. I've never been in it. The symbol out front is like a sword, but it's all stylized. Like,
you're talking about the what's it called? It's a sword with shield. is the Sikh symbol.
Right.
It's
right.
called the Kandal. Oh, hang on, I'll find out. Hang on.
Well, we have one in Orlando, and like it looks like a
Kanda. It's the Kanda.
yeah, it looks like a big terracotta building, like or plastic.
Yeah. That's the
building.
Gurdwara.
It's
That's
got
the
on
temple.
it, and, you know,
They call it a Gurdwara. And here, I'm going to share the image with you of the symbol you're
Bring
talking
one
about,
with
which is
some
the
nicotine use.
Kanda. So if you pop that up, I'll explain it to you real quick. Do you not see the image I'm sharing?
Yeah, that's the one too.
Yeah. So that's two swords, and the circle in the middle is the shield.
Okay, yeah, that's the symbol.
And the name for the sword is Samshir. That's what they call that. And one of my best friends in the world is an RCMP officer out in British Columbia, Gurcharan. And Gurch and I have been friends for years and years. He's Sikh. And
Right.
when I was doing the heroic comic, we put a character in for one scene named Samshir, who's basically like a Sikh Superman, right? He's got the Kanda on his chest and everything. It was a really fun thing to do.
That is cool. And they get to carry like daggers, but if you got an airplane, you got to make sure the dagger's like welded.
Well, the kirpan always has to be sealed. Like every Sikh carries a kirpan, but it has to be tied off. Like you cannot just yank it out. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is.
Well, the one thing I've said before, and I'll say again, my mom is alive because of a Sikh doctor.
Really?
Yeah, when she tried to tell us it was a cyst, but see, I know when my mom's lying.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a cyst, it was a giant tumor in her stomach, the size of a basketball. And the surgery, which took like 12 hours straight, because of, they have to be careful of all the blood veins and everything.
Yeah.
It was a Sikh gentleman at the hospital at the University of Kentucky.
Okay.
And he did it. And, he's a good doctor. He did a surgery that they didn't think she would live through. And now she's thriving and surviving. So,
There you go, man.
So like I said, I would take Zoroastrianism first, because I think it's as close as you get to what I believe. But second would be the Sikhs, because they're just good. They're just good people. And
sadly, they do have a little bit of
that they'll go to heaven, because I hope in God's justice he'll realize, they're good people.
Read The Living Guru. It's a very interesting read. One of the problems, and I remember I was with a Sikh girl for 9 years.
I remember you said that.
One of the problems with the Sikh community is that while their religion in the Living Guru, it says there is no race, no caste, sex, no class, right? Like everyone is equal, man, woman, everybody,
right?
Everybody. But in practice, the Punjabi community is so infected by Hindu society. You can only marry in your community and, all this kind of stuff. And it's really, really all that bullshit Bronze Age shit still sticks around in there. And that's the sad part. Which is why she wanted to stay together, because her family would never accept me. As she had said, if she came home and told them she was with a woman, they would have accepted that sooner than she's with a white guy. That's life.
Well, I would never say anything negative about my faith. It is true that some members of my faith tend to take little T tradition too far. And at the end of the day, we're all Orthodox Christian. It doesn't matter if you're Greek, Russian, whatever. But some people take the ethnic part as if it's part of the religion, but it's not. And then you end up, running into people who are like, well, why are you even in this church? You're not Serbian. And it's like, but I am Orthodox, So, this is the church, right? And then they're like, they remember then, and they're, oh, yeah. But, Greeks can be that way too, because sometimes they're so proud of being Greek that they forget that we're Christian.
Yeah.
But then when you remind them, then they're like, oh, immediately. They're like, oh, yeah, we're totally wrong. Sorry, my bad. And then they're the nicest people.
Oh, I love Greek people, dude. I live in Montreal. There's a lot of Greeks here. And I had Greek friends coming up through high school and all that. I fucking love Greek people.
I've spent a lot of time at diners.
If they adopt you, they fucking adopt you. You know what I mean? Like you're in the family now.
And they'll feed you.
Oh,
whether you want to be fed or not. You're going to get, yeah, you show up at the house.
So my real name is Andrew. My friend Ellie Katsapis,
You're named after the saint that went to the Slavs to spread
Well,
the
actually,
word to the Slavs. Saint
It's
Andrew.
but it's more from the origin point of Andros, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, it probably was.
And actually, I'm named for my mother's dead brother who died in World War II, but that's not either there or neither. Anyway, her mother, who barely spoke any English, loved me to tears, but she would always call me Andrea. And I was like, no, Andrea is a woman's name. No, it's Andrea. You're Andrea. It's just like, okay, fine.
She was probably trying to say Andre, and just that A was
No. In Greek, Andrew is Andrea.
Well, I wonder what James is in Greek.
I know what it is in French.
I know what it is in Hebrew. It's
Well, in
James.
French, it's Jacques.
It's really easy. In Hebrew or Aramaic, it's James.
You know, it is in Gaelic, right?
No, James is the brother of Christ.
Yeah, but you know what James is in Gaelic?
Seamus.
Seamus, exactly.
Yeah. A Greek that still believes in ancient mythology. They do exist. There are Greek pagans. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this, but H.P. Lovecraft, when he's a kid, actually set up a little shrine on his property in secret and would leave flowers and stuff like that to Apollo and Athena. And so before he even wrote his first Cthulhu thing, he was a Hellenistic pagan for some reason. So
Who's
when
this,
people
Lovecraft?
say, who? What?
Lovecraft, yeah.
Lovecraft. And then he said he'd become an atheist, but he wrote a whole letter about how much he hated atheists. So, but then again, we can all agree he was crazy. He wrote great books, and I love the guy, and I have miniatures and busts of him around the house, but he was mentally troubled. And it is what it is. My Russian sweetheart would call me Ivana. I says, B, my name is Ivan.
Ivan.
Ivan, yeah.
That's okay.
I don't know
My
what
Russian
James in Russian is.
my Russian friends call me Andre all the time.
Yeah, Andre. One of the guys that comes on my channel all the time is in Moscow, and that's his name, Andre. He's the one that'll pop in and he'll say something in Russian, but he uses English letters.
Okay.
So that, because I don't read Cyrillic.
Next time he does that, I'll just, if I see him do that, I'll say, Pizdets.
Yeah. Privyet.
Pizda.
Yeah, Privyet. Hello. Privyet.
Privyet.
But I learned Hebrew as a young man, but can I write or speak it? Not really. I recognize like the characters, but da.
I told you the first thing I learned in Russian, right?
Suka.
No.
Suka, blia.
Извините, мороженое, пожалуйста. Which is, excuse me, where can I get ice cream, please? It's from my buddy's, he was studying Russian in college, my roommate. And it was like the first phrase in his book, and I was just like, мороженое, пожалуйста.
Russians eat ice cream in winter.
Sorry, what?
If you go to Russia and it's the winter time and you're walking down the sidewalk avoiding the 8 feet of snow that they're trying to, you will see Russians eating ice cream.
We eat ice cream in winter in Canada.
See, for us anyway, that's so weird. It's like there's snow on the ground. We're not eating ice cream. We're drinking hot cocoa.
Why not? Ice cream's delicious. And
delicious.
Anyone from a cold country knows the secret. When you want to get warmer, eat cold things, drink cold things, so your body has to raise the temperature of it to digest it.
Well, plus all those calories.
And in the summer, when you want to cool off, drink hot things because your body has to lower the temperature of it to digest it. So it goes your body temperature. There's a term for it. I can't remember what the term is, but there's a term.
In Russia, you don't eat. In winter, winter eats you.
In Soviet Russia, winter snows you.
Yeah. In Soviet Russia, you don't play on playground. Playground play on you.
Yeah.
There's a comedian on YouTube, and he's always pretending to be an Italian or Jewish guy. And they're at the playground and they're just talking mad shit in New York, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, is that little meatball your kid? And they're going back and forth. And all of a sudden they're like, what the F is that? And it pans over and it's the same dude. And he's squatting on a swing set wearing all Adidas, smoking. And they're just like, oh my God.
So
This is the
Coco,
Russian kid,
you will love this. I went to my doctor's today for my checkup, and the triage nurse is this Arabic girl. She's really, really nice person, really amazing. Was able, like, I have what's called white coat syndrome, which is my blood pressure goes up around medical professionals, so they can never get a good reading off me. She makes me so comfortable. She got a great reading, and my blood pressure was fine. You know what I mean? It was like 156 or whatever. It was like really good.
Probably make her uncomfortable. You're a giant
No,
white.
she fucking loves me. She thinks I'm hilarious. So today she was telling me about her sister who lives in Winnipeg, and she's like, I don't understand how she could live somewhere so cold. We're from the Middle East. And I said, well, just remind her, she lives in Winnipeg, and the name of the province is Manitoba. And that's all you need to remember.
Well, that's what Coco just says. He lives in Winnipeg,
Winnipeg, yeah.
Slurpee capital of the world.
It is.
I respect that, Coco. I respect
Dude,
that.
when you
Enjoy your
listen,
Slurpees. I used to love a good Slurpee down here too.
I think I told you about my
I didn't know you were in Arizona, homie, because I watch your channel when you do your wargaming stuff. So, you know, Mini Ward Mutt, he's got a channel that does a lot of wargaming stuff that I watch. If you're into wargaming stuff.
I think someone jumped in.
Nope, still 3.
Someone got a Discord message.
Yeah, I don't. I need to figure out how to turn my Discord things off.
Is it on the tab or is it on the application?
I don't know.
Is it in your browser or is it the Discord app you're running?
I have the app running, so I have to click it open.
And go to settings and just mute notifications.
Yep, you're right. There's a new. There's 11 news from Legion of Myth. Jesus, Legion of Myth. What are you guys doing? I haven't spoken to Max in so long. I feel really bad. I need to catch up with that guy and be like, what's going on? How you been? You know, what's up? You ain't mad at me or anything. I mean, because I'm not mad at him. So
no, he's just busy, man. He never reads anybody's shit. And he never goes on anybody's channels.
well, he works a shit ton, and then his wife has got him, you know, doing all the house stuff. Otherwise, she'll kill him in his sleep because she is a ninja.
The bleach in the coffee is going to help. You know?
She is a ninja. Just FYI, like for real. She will ninja his ass.
And she's the worst kind of ninja. She's an Okinawan ninja.
Yeah, she's an Okinawan ninja. So yeah, but she did invite me to her house, but only if I brought beer and donuts.
Oh,
Yeah, she's like, James can come to the house as long as he brings beer and donuts. And I was like, well, I hope you like Yingling and Krispy Kreme because that's what you're getting. Because, you know, I'm an American, damn it, and I like my Krispy Kremes and I drink Yingling, which is a great beer. If you've never had it, I suggest.
yeah, American beer shit, dude. Sorry, I hate to break the news to you.
Yeah, I know. Shut up. I'm aware.
How's American beer like making love in a canoe? It's fucking close to water.
Look, I spent time in Frankfurt, dude.
No.
I understand. I also know that no one in Australia actually drinks Foster's.
No, God, no.
Foster's is Australian beer they make to sell to idiots in America.
Yeah.
So that
Foster's
you
is
can feel
Australian
like
for
Crocodile
piss.
Dundee.
Yeah.
It's
I was told if you want to
I
drink a real good
recommend
Australian beer,
Yellow.
drink Castlemaine. Apparently, Castlemaine's really good.
I will never drink Corona because Corona is what upper middle class white college students drink, and they annoy me. But Modelo is actually really good.
Sol.
I would
is
drink a
good.
Modelo.
Sol. You guys have Sol, S-O-L in the States? It's like the other Corona. It's really
I've
good.
seen it. Yeah.
And the idea
But-
of putting lime in your Corona, it's like, that's a little too far for me. I'm sorry.
But when me and my buddy would go to this one strip club here in Montreal called Kingdom, they had a deal. a bucket of 6 Corona on ice for like, $15. So now it's probably like $25, but that's what we used to go. So we would drink fucking Coronas all the time. We didn't give a shit. We're like, fuck it, it's the cheapest deal in the house tonight.
Yeah. I mean,
And then we got in good with the waitress. We got in good with the waitress, and then she would know us enough that she wouldn't bring us all 6 open at one time. She'd like just bring us 2 at a time. Like,
Right.
You guys are good.
So Tutan is Mexican and he loves a Corona. Well,
Arriba la raza.
my uncle lives in Saltillo, and yeah, Modelo is
Well, let me tell you something. I live in the bar, and it's quite nice down there. And we drink the Corona on a hot day, and you put the lime in because you want to purify it. And I was the first person to do that.
if I close my eyes, I see his face. Not the new old kind of withered up one. I see the Running Man one.
Yeah, this is bullshit. Exactly.
Yeah, when he keeps trying to talk, but then Damien keeps cutting him off, and he's just like,
Yeah.
And I know because but I'm going to say it anyway. He taught the rest of the crew on the Predator film how to use their weapons and shit.
Yep.
And originally, the minigun was supposed to be Schwarzenegger's thing, and Schwarzenegger was like, "No." So then Jesse was like, "I'll take that, bitch," even though it weighed like 200 pounds. I mean, because if you look at him, he's got the minigun, but look on his back.
Yeah,
that is a rack of thousands of rounds.
And a completely impractical weapon. They actually tried doing a man-portable one for a while in Vietnam. It didn't work
and it's
out.
like
you run out of ammunition in 2 seconds, and also the recoil after a certain point actually becomes thrust.
Yeah, but who gives a fuck? It's cool on film. Shut up.
Yeah, but Jesse Ventura
they were fighting an invisible alien. Who gives a fuck about realism?
I mean, you gotta admit, Predator, I ain't got time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed.
And then when he gets killed and his best friend, the one bald black dude that's always shaving his head, grabs it and starts. It's like, I have all their miniatures in 32 millimeter.
Nice.
Yep, the whole team. I painted them up. I've showed them all.
The guy
I've got the Indian. What's his name? And he's got
Sonny Landham.
Yeah.
I
saw a documentary about that.
He's got the shotgun underneath it. And then I've got the second pose of him. He's got no shirt on, and he's just got that big freaking knife.
Giant knife.
Yeah.
I saw a documentary. Sonny Landham, while he was down there, had a police escort the entire time on set. And as soon as his last scene was done, they escorted him to the airport and deported him.
Yes.
Because apparently he got into so much fucking trouble down there.
So Sonny Landham was a renowned drunk. He shot a film here in Montreal, and he would get drunk every day on set. And then one day he took a radio from a production assistant, went back to his trailer drunk as a fucking maniac, and would just sit there going, breaker, breaker, blah, 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 and fucking around on the radio, right? So they had to send someone around to quietly tell everyone to switch to channel B so he wouldn't know, and he'd just keep talking to him. But they had to have one guy stay on channel A and just keep giving fake reports so that he would believe that everyone was still on that channel. That's how crazy he was.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue with an actual Chicano that likes his Corona. Knock yourself out with that Corona. But to me, I like dark beer. So when I drink my Yingling, a lot of time I get Black and Tans, or I get the Yingling Dark, and I like Modelo Dark. That's my favorite.
Give me a Guinness any day of the week, fuck.
Well, Guinness, I mean, that's like a mill. I mean,
and if you can't give me a Guinness, give me a Kilkenny Cream Ale.
I've never had one, but I probably would like it.
Delicious. Kilkenny is delicious.
I could never deal with Guinness. It's just too bitter.
No, it's not. Okay, so to give you an idea of how fucking much I used to drink, it was a really hot day in Montreal. Summer day. It was like fucking plus 40 degrees, so like 104, 105 degrees at night, humid as fuck. We go to this bar, me and my girlfriend at the time and her French friends. We go to this bar that my buddy's a manager of. So he gets us in, takes us over. But the table he had for us was right over the kitchen. So we were getting hotter and hotter and hotter. We all ordered our first round of drinks. And I ordered Guinness. It shows up, pint of Guinness. I take it and I go, look, and put down the empty glass. And then I turn to look, and there's these 5 French guys just like staring at me because they're like, "How the fuck did you do that?" And I'm like, "What? It's Guinness. You drink it." It's like,
Yeah, they're too busy drinking their Labatt's or
yeah,
whatever.
they're drinking their Molson. They're like, "Ooh." I'm like, "Fuck you! Drink a real beer that puts hair on your chest."
Yep, the one English pub I used to hang out in, even though they kind of pretended to be an Irish pub, but I knew the owners were from England. They would sell a pint of Guinness for $5 back in the day.
Wow.
So it was like the best. And it was like you got to watch them pour it out the tap and hand it to you, you know, and it was an English pint, which is bigger than an American pint.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it was $5. So you walk up, I slap the 5 down, they hand me my Guinness. There were nights where I'd drink 6, 7 of them, you know,
Oh, okay.
and which is about 7,000 calories too, to be sure.
Mhm.
Because the whole reason for Guinness was so that men working hard in the fields that didn't have a lot of money, you know, you drink some Guinness, you'd be like ready to go for the rest of the day. Guinness and some potatoes. And that's what they say Irish 7-course meal is a potato and a 6-pack of Guinness, you know? And it's like, and the actual saying for Guinness didn't Neart, I think it is, or Dear. That means in Irish, it's Guinness for strength.
Yeah.
They had the best beer commercial ever, too. Do you remember the Guinness beer commercial where they're playing hurling and then the other team turns into like orcs?
Oh,
And the dude that's getting ready to bat up with the hurley bat, you know, and the other team's like, rah, and then
no,
it's like,
I've never seen that. Never
Oh.
seen that.
Look that up. It's really good.
Nice.
Gonna try some Guinness. Well, Guinness is, like I said, if you work hard out in the sun, come home at night, have a nice cold Guinness, it will restore you.
Have a nice warm Guinness, please.
Nice warm one, even.
Drink
Yeah,
it properly.
whatever.
It's a warm beer.
And we can get them down here. They come in the full pint can with like the
Yeah.
nitrous
With the,
tab in it.
the floating widget. So yeah,
So
so
that
Guinness,
it actually
Guinness to be
tastes-
sold in North America had to be able to be available in a can. And Guinness is like, no, we're not putting it in a can. That ruins beer. It's fucking disgusting. We're not doing it. They said, well, you want to? Yeah. So what do these fuckers do? They get a bunch of engineers working on it. So when you crack, Kilkenny has the same thing. When you crack the can, the widget drops in and instantly fucking carbonizes the drink.
Yep.
Like instantly makes it a beer. You know what I mean?
That
Otherwise,
way it tastes like
when you
it
crack it
just
open.
come out the barrel.
It's so good. And then later, you can cut the can open, take out the widget, throw it on the floor, and your cats will chase it all around the apartment.
Yeah, because they wanted the Guinness in the can to taste just like you just pulled it out the tap.
Yep.
So
And you know what? It kind of does.
yeah, they kind of does. They did a pretty
And
good
Coco's
job.
right, man. Kilkenny on tap, delicious.
I have never. That must be a Canadian thing. Kilkenny.
No, Kilkenny's an Irish beer. It's about the same company as Guinness, same brewer. And it's this fucking beautiful cream ale, and it is so good.
The only other
taste.
Irish beer I've ever drank was Harp.
I like
Harp is
Harp.
nice. I like
And
Tart.
usually when I'd order like a black and tan, the pub I'm talking about, the Rover's Return, they
Yeah,
would do half Guinness, half Harp.
yeah, it's way to do it. I
And
like
then if I
Tart.
were going to drink like a lager, I always ordered Newcastle, a pint of Newcastle.
So have you ever had Tartan?
No.
Tartan's another one of those British Isles beers. It's fucking good. Like Tartan is a really good beer, but it's so hard to get in Canada.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of Newcastle, though. I like Newcastle.
Newcastle's not bad. Newcastle's
No,
not a bad.
I like
ale at all.
Strongbow for cider.
Strongbow. I used to have a girlfriend who would get Strongbow drunk, and Strongbow
geez.
drunk meant I was getting fucked. So anytime we'd be getting together, I'd be showing up with a fucking 6-pack of Strongbow for her.
Right? Because I'll tell you what, though, what is it? Angry Orchard that we have down here is pretty good. That's some good
I know.
stuff. You know, if you like cider, I mean, yeah, that's decent stuff, man. Which I do, because I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't like basically alcoholic. I get Smirnoff drunk. See, Teuton, I don't do Smirnoff. I do Stoli. And yes, I know. As a person of somewhat Russian descent, let's say, I shouldn't be drinking Estonian vodka, but it's just what it is. Everybody sees Stoli, though, and they see the red letters and the Cyrillic, and they're thinking, oh, Russian. It's like, that's made in Estonia.
Can I show you guys something cool?
Of course you can.
So the art guy, I told you the art guy, we have an art guy who's doing the new art for Heroic, and we've changed our style. So he's just showing some of the sketches off today. Here, I'm sharing an image if you want to pop it up. I'm going to show you two.
I will.
And he's just doing one of the characters. He's exploring one of the characters for us. And like, I think, and wait, this is going to be some fucking good looking art in this book, man. Like, this guy is.
He's like a rock star and a superhero.
Yeah, that's one of the characters. Yeah.
Nice.
But man, I'm like, this picture, I'm like, dude, this is the best work you've done so far. He's like, oh, thanks. I don't think I can hit it all the time. I'm like, you will. Because like now you know what the bar is, you know what I mean? But he's fucking good.
Oh shit. What was that video game that oh man. Was it City of Heroes that had the Mexican superhero that was named Elf, like fire, but in Spanish?
No, that was Freedom Force, El Diablo.
El Diablo or El,
Yeah.
yeah. And then in the Tick, they changed what's his name to Batmanuel.
Batmanuel, yeah.
Light Mouse.
Dave Fledermouse became Batmanuel.
Batmanuel.
You want to see something funny? Not in the game. In the game, I think it's the game Doc Flamingo is going to be in. They're going to be fighting against this guy. He's the first villain they're going to be facing, him and a bunch of villains. I'm going to show you the picture, then I'll tell you his name after I share the picture. Now, I'm going to show you the picture. Now, I want you to tell me what you think this guy's name is.
Oh, my God.
He looks like he should be in the WWE.
He is El Gallo de Oro, the golden rooster.
So like
He is a luchador.
luchador.
Oh, yeah. I can't fucking wait, man.
That's pretty cool. A super
All
powered
of you superheroes, you think you're so good? Come, I challenge you. Meet me in the center of town and we will battle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but that's pretty hilarious. I'll tell you what, last night our game was so good, and I'm not sure why it was so good. But I know you guys have had those games where the DM's like, okay, it's time to end the game, and you're like, what? We just started, and he's like, no, we've been playing 5 hours.
Yeah.
And it was like that for me. Like, he's like, well, I got to be to work early, so I guess I better, this is like 10:30, 11 o'clock, right? And I'm all like, we just started, bro. And he's like, dude, it's almost 11. And I'm like, and we started at like 6:30. And I was like, oh, shit, I must have been having a lot of fun. And, but I don't know what we did. I mean, we just had a lot of fun. It was just a fun game. Everybody was on. You know how it is when all the players are on and the DM's doing a good job and you run around taking care of business and, and just time went by so quick. And so, we gotta figure out, because basically we've got a domain, but we got to pay rent for it to the prince. And we've got to clear it out because this asshole Ventru Prince gave us like the worst neighborhood in Orlando. So if we want it for our domain. So last night I ended up, deleting a meth head from the census. And, which the meth heads are okay for me because we're playing 5e. And it turns out that the blood from people who are on stimulants actually gives me a bonus anytime I use my disciplines. of celerity and potence, so I get that meth head speed and strength, but you gotta watch out because you don't want to get addicted to it, and then you're a vampire meth head. That would suck. But so anyway, just a bunch of shit went on, and it was a good game. And by the time it ended, I was just like, damn, I didn't want it to end. No one goes to Disneyland in our campaign because that whole wildlife preserve area over there near Windermere and all that, there's like a group of werewolves that live out there. And there's kind of a tentative, kind of sort of agreement that they won't murder us all if we stay out of their shit. Because, I don't know if you know World of Darkness too well, but your average beginning werewolf is a sheer freaking monster.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're playing a vampire that's been around a long time, you still don't want to get into it with a pack of werewolves. Never minding the fact that daylight don't bother them. And they can summon spirits and shit. So it's like, yeah, the last thing you want is a freaking pack of werewolves to decide that you need to be done because they can do it.
I was in a LARP in Vancouver, and one of the Malks murdered a group. And the next fucking Elysium we had, not Elysium, what do they call the gatherings of vampires? Salon. The next salon we had, the Guru came for revenge. And all the fucking elders that could have fought them and given us a chance to live grabbed the prince, grabbed the seneschal, and got the fuck out of the fucking salon. They just fled the area and left all of us to fucking fight Guru. I think something like 15 characters were killed that night. Like, it was a bloodletting. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
People were pissed. But that's okay. The Malks got fucking found out because the Nosferatu saw everything, like the Nosferatu.
Like they do.
And they were banished from the city.
Which is a death sentence for most vampires, as they say.
Especially given in Vancouver, you're surrounded by Guru. And if you go south to Seattle, Sabbat.
Yeah. So, yep. Like my character is not allowed in New York.
Well, New York's Sabbat, isn't it? Or have they changed that?
No, it's Cam, but I have a active blood hunt in New York.
Oops.
And if it wasn't for the fact that my character's status was as high as it was, they would have killed me. But instead, they're like, okay, you're pretty high up in the hierarchy of things. So I lost all my New York privileges, basically. To quote, what was the movie? But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Your LA privileges are hereby provoked.
You mentioned the killing the meth heads. Did everyone see? I think it was a Saturday Night Live. Christopher Walken as Dracula. He's like interviewing the girls. He's like, so how many sexual partners would you say? It's like he starts asking screens, obviously worried about AIDS.
What character could you be if you're asking this because you're from Mexico? There's no rule.
It's Mexico's Sabbat, or at least it wasn't.
There are a lot of Sabbat there, but as a Mexican, he could be anything he wanted. I mean,
listen, if he's going to be a vampire in Mexico, he'd be at the Titty Twister.
Which would be like, I don't know.
Assamites?
Setites?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Setites can turn into snakes.
We got big pussy, we got small pussy, we got hairy pussy, we got shaved pussy, we got stinky pussy.
You can find pussy anywhere cheaper. Fuck it. Cheech was in like 3 or 4 roles in that.
He did 3 roles in that fucking movie.
Yeah, that was could I be a cartel terrorist as a side job? Yeah. Which I would say then would make you want to be an Assamite, just because as vampires, the Assamites, at least 1/3 of their branch of the Klan, they specialize in assassination and stuff.
Be an Aztec Setite, man. That would be the balls.
Or an Aztec Setite that was alive back when the Aztecs were.
That would be balls, man.
Mm-hmm. I watch a Canadian, or used to, I watched the whole thing, a Canadian show called Forever Night. And there was a vampire in the show that I think his name is Michael Knight or whatever, had to deal with. And he was an Aztec occasionally. And then, of course, his sire ran like a late night goth radio show, and his name was Lacroix. You remember Forever Night? It's filmed in like Toronto.
Oh, I remember Forever Night.
I used to love that show. It's probably the best series. But, you know, there was that era in the 80s and 90s where the Canadians were just making really good stuff. They had Lex, Farscape.
No, Farscape's Australian.
Huh?
Farscape's Australian.
Excuse me then. But you had Lex, you had Forever Night.
Oh, God, we used to have so many good fucking shows.
Supernatural was filmed up in
Vancouver. Eureka was shot in Vancouver. Wise Guy back in the 80s, early 90s was shot there. Viper.
Yeah, there was that
remember the show Viper?
thing.
Remember Viper, about the Dodge Viper? The Viper TV show? That was shot in Vancouver.
Yeah, there was a Nick Knight. That's his name. Yeah. And he's
Nick
always
Knight.
trying to figure out how to become human again. And Lacroix is always trying to convince him not to. Best line about Vampire and Virgin's line was, what we do. Oh, What We Do in the Shadows. Not only was the film kind of funny, but the series was hilarious.
I didn't like the film, so I never gave the series a try.
The series was hilarious, and I loved Nandor the Relentless. He's like, I am Nandor the Relentless. They call me that because I was relentless. You know? And people would be like, no, please, don't kill us. Don't burn our village. And I would be like, no, for I'm Nandor the Relentless. And I was, you know, because he was like Turkish, like during the Ottoman Empire and the prince of some province. And he was always raiding the Balkans. And then the girl was from like Axios in Greece. And then the guy was like a Victorian English scientist. So he was always like trying to drill holes in people's head to unleash like evil humors and shit. And I mean, the whole show was just silly as shit, but it was funny. Yeah, it's a different kind of humor. But I like a lot of like Faulty Towers and stuff like that.
Oh, Jesus.
But Benny Hill, man, is the funniest guy to ever be on TV.
Faulty Towers, man, and Blackadder. Oh, my.
Oh, Blackadder. Yeah.
I swear, Baldric, if the prince insults me one more time, our contract will be as cracked as this cup. But Mr. B, that cup isn't cracked. You do walk into these things, don't you, Baldric?
Yeah, it starts out like back in like the Elizabethan era, and it just keeps going forward.
And Blackadder goes fourth. The one set in World War I is probably the best of the lot, right? The last series. And that last shot of them charging over the fucking into no man's land, and they fade slowly into Flanders Fields. It was like, wow, that was some powerful shit.
Right. Yeah.
So when you say,
everyone wants to talk about World War II, and they don't understand that World War II was a walk in the park compared to World War I.
Oh, we know in Canada. Vimy Ridge, man. We still celebrate Vimy Ridge every year here.
I mean, well, where you guys charged heavy losses up and beat the shit out of some.
The British couldn't take it. The English couldn't take it. The French couldn't take it. We went, fuck it, we'll go.
Well, you know how those boys get when they're all on their syrup like that.
Well, you know, yeah, exactly. We're all hopped up on the syrup. Plus, World War I was kind of our time to shine as like, oh, no, we're fucking crazy.
Like, I can just see the Canadian troops down there just chugging down freaking pancake syrup. And then they're all like, ah!
You know how they get all antsy in the pantsy when they're up on the syrup.
Yeah. The poor Germans are like, Ach der Lieben. A bunch of Canucks coming over, drinking wood cutting axes like a bunch of crazy lumberjacks. Freaking, but anyway,
I still think the shittiest one.
The Shadowrun character on Nadja, that's cool. I liked Nadja. actually. I thought she was a very interesting character. And
I'm going to try
there
the
was
series.
part
If
of
it
the
sucks, I'm
series where she
blaming you.
actually goes to the Greek neighborhood and finds a Greek restaurant that's the people from the island she's from. So she's always hanging out there because being around her people makes her feel, I don't know, more alive or something. It's really good.
Look, I'm going to try the show. And if it sucks, I'm blaming you.
Okay, you're allowed. You're allowed. Yeah, the ending of, you know what was another good ending was the ending of oh man, the World War II series that followed the 101st Airborne.
Oh, Band of Brothers.
Yeah, when the one Norwegian guy asked to speak to his men, except he was playing a German officer. And he was upset because he was a field marshal, but he had to surrender to like Private Smithy from fucking New Jersey or some shit. So then they had to send an officer so he could formally surrender. And then he's like, if I might have a moment to speak to my men. And you know, the one major's like, go ahead. And he starts speaking to him. And like everything he says is what the Americans had been through. And there's a guy that's translating. You know, and he's like, men, we fought hard. We did our best. We held each other in the trenches and, you know, we died. And he gives this whole speech. And it's like, God, dog, man, you know, this is like, war sucks. And I've been in one, but not like any of that. My war was a desert war, and desert wars are awesome because you can see the enemy like 3 miles away at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they don't have night vision. So it's kind of like beating up like a handicapped person in a wheelchair because they literally don't see it coming. You're just like, yeah.
You ever hear Eddie Izzard's thing about the Falklands War?
Oh,
He's like, he has this great line where he goes, so basically our guns could shoot 5 miles and the Argy guns could shoot 3 miles. So we parked our ships 4 miles off the coast and shelled the shit out of them, which is the equivalent of holding a midget at the head and kicking him in the balls.
Oh, that was Ricky Gervais, actually.
Was that Ricky Gervais? I thought it was Eddie Izzard. Okay.
I remember when, was it CNN got in big time trouble because they did a whole article explaining to the people how to arm an Exocet missile.
And then they took out one of the British ships.
And then they took out a troop ship.
Yeah.
And like the British, rightly so, were pissed off because apparently the Argentinians didn't know how to arm their French missiles. So they would shoot missiles at ships and the missile would just bang, you know. And then, of course, CNN being brilliant, they decide to explain how to arm the things. It's like, war crimes for you, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
I remember how much shit the French were getting over that too. And the French were like, what? We sold them those like 10 years ago. What the fuck? We were going to pick a fight with them.
George says that Notch's lines, or at least the actress playing Notch's lines in Greek, are actually Greek, and that she reminds him of her mom, of his mom. So, yeah, and I'm pretty sure the guy who plays Nandor is actually from somewhere in the Middle East because
I'm downloading season 1. I'll give it a try, and if I hate it, well, that's
because
fine.
he definitely has the sound of a guy from the Middle East trying to speak English. You know what I mean? He's got that accent. So he might actually be Turkish. I don't know. But you know what? I will say this. Greek women, man, they're either horrible to look at or absolutely goddesses.
Greek women are like Italian women. When they're young,
Goddesses.
and then 40 hits them. You know what I mean?
I always said that about, because where I live, the majority population is Hispanic. And I'm like, Spanish women, when they're young, they are beautiful. When they turn 40, they turn into Spanish men. They get a mustache, a wispy little beard, you know.
So a buddy of mine used to
as they
know
are
this Japanese girl, and she said she was explaining Asian women to him. She goes, When we're young, we're a delicate flower. When we're mature, we're a timeless beauty. And then one day, Yoda.
Yeah, that is in my experience as a person who's never been a weeb. Japanese women are either incredibly attractive or you're like, what in the is going on here?
Is that a dude? Like, a lot of times I'll watch
Really?
Japanese shit like wrestling and stuff, and they'll be like the women's division. I'll be like, is that a dude? Like, what the fuck? What does that look? You know?
Is like, yeah. You know what's crazy too, and you probably know this better than anyone, Bear, since where you live, you have a lot of Asian people, but you're standing next to one and you're like a head taller, and then you're like, hey, do you want to sit down for a minute and talk? And you sit down and they're as tall as you are.
So I used to finish
Because
work
they
at
got
8 in the
short
morning.
little legs.
But when I was in Vancouver, I used to finish work at like 8 in the morning. And I would take the number 9 Broadway, which is the busiest bus in North America per capita. It's always fucking packed, that bus. And
Right.
I'd get on the bus, and the only 2 people that weren't Chinese on the bus were me and the bus driver, and he was Sikh. Okay. I'd be standing there, 6'3", looking left, looking right, and it was just a sea of black hair all around. And I could just put my arms on their heads if I wanted to.
Right.
I would just do this. I towered above these people. And the sad part is, Chinese are not like Japanese. Japanese women look at a guy like me and they go, ooh, because I'm big and I've got a beard and I'm tall and I'm thick, and they fucking love that over there. Chinese women think I'm gonna fucking eat them, and not in the
and not in a friendly
not in a hoo-hoo way, but more in a he's eating me. And as a result, they're scared of me. You know what I mean?
They're like,
it was really disheartening.
he's like, he is an oni.
That's Japan. He's more like he's literally Guido.
Yeah, Guido, right? But yeah, Coco is right. I mean, there's some that you know are just filler episodes, and some of them that will have you laughing the whole time. But that's every series, you know. Your wife is watching a K-drama. Are you married to my brother? Alchemy of Souls. The magic system is that would make your head spin. No, if it's super complicated, it wouldn't, because I expect that.
It's getting late. I got to go eat while there's still
All
time.
right, I'll catch you later.
Later.
I got to bounce too. I got to go make my supper.
It is 8:00, so it's about time for us to end this anyway.
Bye,
So
James. Thanks for
everybody
having me
who hung
on.
out with us, thank you very much. Bear, thank you for being on, and Doc, who already left, but thank you. You know, 2 great guys. And if you haven't checked out Bear's channel, he does live streams. He does live plays of multiple role-playing games. Check him out. He's one of the coolest guys north of the border. And that's all I have to say, actually. I have no more words of wisdom to dispense. You guys have been a great crowd. Coco, George, all of you guys. I always love seeing you guys. And, well, remember, Monday, I'm guaranteed to be on Monday. If no other day, Monday. And, you know, I'll make some videos and all that. But right now, you know, it's like I did my one video talking shit about Black Magic Craft and his whole elbows up bullshit. And it's like, come on, America's not going to try to conquer Canada. We have literally no interest in that shit. And if you're arguing like we're going to, you're insane. But other than that statement, I am working on, I will show you what I've been working on while we were talking. I've already got the orange on them, which means I got to put the purple on them. This is for Trench Crusade, a Swiss guardsman with a BAR automatic rifle, because I am going to make a Vatican Rapid Response Force army or team for Trench Crusade. And they tend to be incredibly well equipped. because of course they are. They're the Swiss Guard, right? So like here I've got a Swiss Guardman. He's got his halberd, but he's also got a shotgun on his back. And you have to remember that plate armor, you might think, why would you wear metal armor in a game where people got 30-06 rifles? And the answer is because the armor is made out of orichalcum and can actually deflect bullets sometimes. So, and while a lot of people are saying the people who make Trench Crusade are super woke, blah, 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 my response to that is I'm going to take it over from them. And I think if you're not super woke or whatever, and you want to play Trench Crusade, play Trench Crusade. And if anybody gives you anything about it, just say, look, it's our game now. You made a game where I can play a war band of hyper-Orthodox Christians from Russia fighting the literal demons from hell. That's not your game. That's my game. So I'm glad you made it, but that's not for you. Because it's so funny going on their Discord and listening to people trying to argue how hell is actually the good guys. And it's like, I don't think you guys know what you're talking about. But anyway, that's what I've been painting. Thanks for joining. Comment and all that because, YouTube loves it. And I'll catch you guys later. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. If I don't see you again, because you never know. So peace, love, God bless, and